Hi, my name is Andrew Greene. This is my exhibition Taste at CHERUBY in Shanghai. In a lot of my work, I either use ready-mades or found objects, or I am actually trying to remake something that I've encountered in a public space or a semi-public setting. I'm really interested in drawing out the more personal relationships that we have to these things and kind of grafting, more subjective meanings onto them because often the things that I'm interested in are things that don't really have an objective meaning anymore. They've kind of been washed through popular culture so much that the only thing that's left are the values that we're projecting onto them and then the values that they project back onto us. I had always wanted to show them as a large installation. That was kind of what I felt was the optimal way of displaying the object, because they're actually designed to be running around the fence of a property. So I wanted to restage that in an exhibition space and kind of create a rhythm that you would experience. For me, it's not even necessarily about decision making. It's the yes and no are more about uncertainty and certainty and real or fake, these binaries that exist. And so I thought a really good way to illustrate that was with using these scales to kind of force equivalencies between different kinds of objects or different kinds of ideas. And so I've done that in a number of ways. Sometimes I've actually found how to make an equilibrium with the objects themselves, but in other cases I've decided to actually put my thumb on the scale in a sense by forcing things to be equal to each other. In the other gallery with the sculpture, the video, I wanted to present that sculpture in a sort of similar way as you might encounter that kind of a mirror in a bathroom. I didn't want to recreate a bathroom per se, but I wanted to recreate the height that you might encounter a mirror. I also liked the idea of maybe making the space feel a little bit like it was designed for gatherings or other kinds of social interactions. The strategy that I've tried to employ is to create those a framework for these objects to exist within. So often that comes to a restrained material palette, using a lot of aluminum or stainless steel, materials and aesthetics that are kind of traditionally more associated with corporate culture or corporate design, or maybe even masculine ideas of power. And so in this exhibition, I'm kind of trying to loosen things up a little bit in terms of how I am contextualizing things. I'm not using a railing system that I've used before, or I'm not using stainless steel stanchions that I've used often. I'm kind of introducing a new methodology, which are these tables. I think that they kind of trace different kind of aesthetic qualities of interior design, and that's been something that I've really been interested in exploring more in my work, how people use space, why they choose the tables that they choose, the sort of socioeconomic implications of those decisions. The relationship between most Americans in China or Asia is via the objects that they consume and use. Any use of a ready-made or a product that I might purchase on Amazon, it's all produced here. It can be something that's designed for the American palate. It's an interesting one because it obviously abstracts the production of those things and abstracts the relationship you have with them, but I think a lot about the metaphysical quality of objects and the kind of agency that exists within the objects themselves and how they're designed and how they're made and how they actually impact the life that we live.